Hello, everybody. It's Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock. Therefore, it must be waved yellow. Hola.
Hola, senor. Are you well, my friend?
Gary, I'm good. I'm very good. I see we're back at our temporary outdoor studio.
Yes, we are.
Life is pretty good. And I hope you've had a great weekend of motorsport. There's a whole lot of people who are upset with you this time, which I think is fantastic.
Well,
we'll get to that.
But firstly, I need to apologize to somebody.
Why?
And to all of your fans out there.
Oh, because production screwed up again.
Again. They gave us a car. They went into limp mode.
I'll tell you what, and this wasn't just limp. This was like...
seriously limp.
It was not even hopping along casually.
Yeah.
It was just
So,
broken.
we were going to come to you from a fantastic... One of the top teams in supercar racing in South Africa. We're going to come to you from their workshop. We're going to do a walkthrough, have a look at different things in there.
They said I could sit in a Lamborghini.
Yes.
Again.
So first of all, I need to apologize to Ricky and the Gian Nacararo family. You know how to say it.
Giancarlo.
Giancarlo. So Ricky, our
You've got
apologies.
to, Gary, because they're Italian, you've got to get the hand going. It's not because this in Italian means Gianni.
Do not go there.
Tell us what this means.
Okay.
So it's you've got to talk. If you're Italian, you talk with your hands.
Yeah, but
So
guys-
to the Giancaros from G&H Transport,
Yes.
I'm sad that production and transport particularly let us down. We will arrange next week to
But
be there properly.
We promise you we will come from that workshop, and probably next week's show will come from there, and we'll show you what those guys are up to and how they go about preparing things for racing.
Gary, I don't care about the preparation. I want to sit in that Lamborghini again. I want to fiddle.
No, you want to drive it.
Damn straight, I want
Okay,
to drive it.
Ricky's online. Ricky's online. Ask him straight.
Ricky, ciao, Ricky. We want to do an in-depth report on your Lambo. So part of that would involve moi having a little cruise around the track. You can speak to everybody.
Yeah. Ricky, put it like my car today. Put it in limp mode, brother.
Guys like, I'll tell you what, you know Reggie Roots, the Flying Dutchman. He will vouch for me as being a proper driver.
Well, let's see if he comes online and tells us. But just while you're on there, let's just say hi to all the guys. Brett Robinson online, Dion Donald's online, Brad Drew, welcome. Ricky, welcome. Stuart White's online. You know Stuart
Little
White?
Stewie.
Little Stewie White.
Well, he's not
Stewie.
young Stuart White.
Young Stuart White.
You know, like in America, they call him young Ryan Blaney.
Yeah.
And because this is waved yellow and it's a Wednesday night at 6 o'clock, welcome brothers, sisters, and all of you,
Yes.
little furry creatures and others.
Should we just
go
go back to the
to-
thing I'm in trouble about?
What was?
No, just quickly the thing I'm in trouble about.
Oh, I'm glad, because last time somebody got into the poo
Yeah.
from Kailami, Gary,
Yeah.
it was your sidekick.
Yes.
Now you in the poo.
Yeah.
Hey,
Now, guys,
grovel out
Yeah,
of it,
no.
brother.
we posted a post.
No, he posted a post.
LEB posted a post.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry,
About-
we
about-
posted a post.
about-
Because in the words of Toto Wolff,
We are.
we win together and we lose together.
And then you want to laugh at me?
Gary, it's freaking awesome. I'm used to rocking the
Yeah.
boat.
Now, all I want to say to you guys is the press release we put out comes from a company called... I don't know if you
A
guys
site,
can hear me.
motorsport.com.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear. I think my microphone...
So some of the stuff that we do, we have sources. We have spies, we have embedded journalists, we have people who phone us from the clearing docks of Durban, and they report in this container
Yes.
that is on the wharf
Oh,
in Durban.
Are we talking about that? I was
No.
talking about World Superbike.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just explaining how stuff happened. They report from the docks of Durban,
Yes.
the airport of. I've got to get the right terminology.
Is this what we call blockage?
Ortia. We have spies in Germany.
Yeah,
we
but
still haven't done happy birthday to Porsche.
the one and only...
Ferdinand.
No,
Do you
no,
know
no,
that,
no,
Gary?
No. You know whose birthday it is today?
The
The legend.
yeah.
The best Formula One commentator in the world, Mr. Murray
Martin
Walker.
Brundle.
Mr. Murray Walker.
Right, should we say
Happy
happy birthday.
90th birthday to Mr.
Murray Walker?
Murray Walker.
Sir Murray Walker.
Yeah. So let me just go
Okay,
back.
so hold on.
I
Yeah.
just wanna
Sources say.
sources say, yeah,
Gary, tell us the
Okay.
story.
No.
How did you dig yourself into a poo hole?
it's quite easy. I have sources
I
over
know.
there that send me information, so I get this little thing saying press release from motorsport.com, and it says World Superbikes are set for South Africa, i.e. Kyalami. And
They said, I saw that, Gary. Yeah.
it doesn't say that it is going to happen.
Gary, do we place, how much credibility do we give motorsport.com? I think we give them a lot because they have sources,
Yeah.
just like we do,
Yeah.
except I think our sources sometimes are better than theirs. And remember, this is a company that closed down their video side because they weren't getting as much viewership as we were.
Well, we give them a bit of traction.
Oh, no, we were like smashing. So, Gary, carry on with your story. Sorry, I keep
Yeah.
interrupting.
So, LEB didn't make this statement. This statement was made by motorsport.com. And if you guys don't believe me, go onto the link on LEB and read the article properly. At nowhere in that article does it say it is confirmed.
Are you defending yourself?
No.
I would say to you, Gary,
Yeah.
to those people who are giving you a hard time,
Yeah. Don't
I've
do that.
got-
No, it's a family show.
I would say to them, go
Just-
away.
Yes, go away. Nicely.
We bring you information.
Yes.
Superbikes will be at Kylon. Remember how much poo I got into when I said that GD3 racing is coming to Kyalami?
Yeah.
Don't worry. So Superbike, Gary, you know what I love is the sleuthing that you've got. And the fact that you go out there, and that was a...
Okay, you got the part.
He finds the story, he reports it. Awesome stuff. I'm glad you got into a poo.
Yeah.
If you're not riding the rim or the edge, you're not riding anything.
Just
So-
quick one. Welcome to Ted Barbier. How's it, brother?
How's it, Ted? How are those bikes going?
Michael Vork, are you back from Germany? I know you went to a gallivanting in Zimbabwe somewhere. Henny van der Linden is online.
Zimbabwe, Germany, it's kind of the same thing. They both were run by dictators at one point in time.
Until Michael Walk arrives over there, then it changes. So,
How's it, Wameni?
Manny's online.
Okay, so let's go back to what was, because Wameni brings us to the story
Yes.
of our boys.
Yeah.
They didn't do so good. But
Think-
hold on.
think-
Production.
I think they did very well because you have it.
Gary, can you see this? This
Yeah.
is what production gives me. I've asked for type notes.
Is that our new typist?
It looks like a spider walked through some black paint and scratched his ass on my paint, on my piece of paper. We haven't got a typist.
Got to get
We've got a scribe. So we will go to GT3 racing, and just while we're there,
Yeah.
because of we go to the Black Falcon Mercedes got disqualified. It wins, so
It wins at Nürburgring.
no, it
Are you
wi-
talking
it,
about? Are you talking
it
about
wins.
the-
It wins in Barcelona because the Spanish speak with a lisp. Don't know why, but so it wins in Barcelona, and then it goes through to qualify to post race inspection.
Park for May and all that.
Oh, they do some inspection and they find some tape on the inside of the airbox. And the Germans at Black Falcon say, no, we always run this car with the tape over here. It's not a problem. It's just normal. Now, Gary, let me just say something.
This has got nothing to do with Bob.
Nobody ever in the history of motorsport
Yeah.
does something that doesn't comply with the rules and says, no, I didn't have any thing with the performance. Trust me. They put a piece of tape here and a piece of tape there and a tie wrap here and a thing there, because if in chess it would be if you made the rook move diagonally, for those of you who play chess. So anyway, they got disqualified, which meant
My
that
philosopher.
Rafael Martiello
No.
ends up winning 3 championships: the sprint, the endurance, the what. Okay, so that's
That's gone.
that. It's gone. It's history. But more than that,
Yeah.
there was NASCAR this weekend
And there was something else
at
this week.
Dover. There was lots of
With a whole lot of South African cars doing some stuff in the mud.
yeah. We're going to get there, but
Okay, cool.
we've because you know I love NASCAR,
Yes.
and you
So-
know that I love Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, now you got to get that off your chest so we can go.
I've got to get it out of there.
Yeah.
So Kevin Harvick goes and he dominates, but then young Ryan Blaney wins. So because they didn't put a wheel on properly, and there's all sorts of stuff about got to make wheels tight, otherwise it falls off. And anyway, so I was very upset with that because I watched that. I was really watching. And the other sad news is Casey Kane has retired. Now, Casey Kane joined Hendrick Motorsport as part of their dream team and all the rest of it. And he'd been battling with severe dehydration in the car. And he'd gone through a whole lot of medical tests and all the rest of it to the point where he lost so much liquid. Gary, did you see that bird that flew past our...
No, I was watching you.
That was a crow. So we were talking about Black Falcon Racing. So the thing with the NASCARs, they...
Black Falcon Racing crow.
Butterflies.
What the show's about.
Sorry, guys, I've got issues. I'm working on keeping my mind focused. So what happens is in the NASCARs, they get very, very hot. Because aero is so important with those things, and they don't want too much air flowing through the car. Casey Kane loses a bucket load of stuff, and the more, after a while, when you lose fluid, it starts affecting your body. Realizes that it's kind of suffering, and it starts wanting to shut down, and it shuts down all the peripherals, and then starts shutting down some of the fluid. So I think the Ferrari management are severely dehydrated because their brains are shut down. But anyway, so Casey Kane's retired. He's not going to run anymore. The other good news coming out of America is, you remember, we reported on, or we mentioned Robert Wickens.
Yes.
And that massive crash that he had, and he broke everything. And he's now, I tell you what, this guy, do yourself a favor, go and hunt around, look for Robert Wickens' recovery video. This guy is broken. He's got bones in every place that bones shouldn't be broken.
You mean they moved there?
Oh man! But he's now on a bicycle, and he's now got a wheelchair, and he wants to modify it so it goes faster. So Robert Wickens is
he in cahoots with Zanardi? Or are they speaking?
I think they are.
Okay,
and Robert Wickens is back on recovery, so he's back at home recovering. And I just want to say something else. If you just going back to Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah.
Who concussion is real. Concussion is a bad thing. If you get your bell rung, as they say, and you feel woozy after a crash, do yourself a favor, go to the doctor, get your head had a look at, because concussion is real. Concussion can kill you, and concussion in motorsports is bad.
They don't go well together.
Nah. So that's our rant over for the weekend. And then there was...
we can talk about the Mud Boys.
Yeah, but there wasn't so much mud. There was Morocco. Rally de Morocco.
They got stocking enough of this stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so we mentioned last week Rally Morocco, which was the preamble for Dakar.
That's correct.
Dakar is Peru. It's sand only. But it's not just sand.
So was Morocco.
Morocco was sand only. It was designed as... So Toyota Gazoo Racing SA go over to Morocco with their 3 cars, the teams, the French guys, and they're going to have a full-on give it a go.
Yeah.
It's a dress rehearsal for for Dakar. And one of the things you've got to say is that this is about the year that second is not going to be good enough anymore. I know Glenn and the team are feeling a lot of pressure. 3 years ago, the pressure was mounting. 2 years ago, the year I was there with them, this was going to be the year. And the thing about motorsport that is so awesome is we don't know what the outcome is going to be, except in Formula One, where you know that McLaren are going to drill everybody. And you know in Formula One, Gary, that Ferrari are going to have an implosion of management. Their management is Dorf. Okay, anyway, Right, sorry, I get distracted.
Have you got F1 out the way?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
Ferrari, do me a favor, get some management, get some balls, learn to take some risks in safety, and I think that's a big thing that Mercedes have done. Yeah. So the guys go off to Morocco, and they run, and Nasser, who's focused as hell. This guy he's on another level. And very interestingly, it turns out that before Carlos Sainz signed for Mini, he had a little test in a Gazoo Racing Toyota.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And? You took the secrets back to Mini.
And he
then
chose
modified the Mini.
the Mini buggy because the Toyota this year is, or next year, well, is now still, it's a four-wheel drive. They're not going down the buggy route. They've gone the four-wheel drive route with the Hilux. And Saints drove the four-wheel drive, and he chose the the Mini buggy. Turns out that in Morocco, the Mini buggy sucked, and NASA drilled everybody by a lot. But there were some very interesting developments behind behind NASA and Michael in the leading car, where Janelle had some problems, got stuck, broke some stuff. They broke a couple of wishbones, which is kind of interesting, but there's new developments coming on.
That's right.
And interestingly, they've moved, normally, Gary,
Well,
you and I sit and our feet are below our bums.
You mentioned that something earlier on about guys using fluid and that sort of stuff, and then you and I had a discussion during the week about seating positions in race cars.
Yeah. Okay, so
And it's
that's
very
exactly where I was
Yeah,
getting.
Okay, so I'm just sort of like linking things back. I just want to make sure everybody out there knows that I'm listening to.
So I don't know how big how wide the camera is.
That's wide
So
enough.
in a normal bucky, you sitting there.
Put your foot up
No,
on
no,
the
no,
table.
it's coming there. You sitting there, and you've got your feet. I'm going to move my feet there,
Okay.
Gary. Don't worry. I'm going to move all
Watch
over
this
places.
stuff, guys.
So in a normal bucky, you're sitting there, and you can like to drive down the road on the Free State, and hello, can you like to believe? Hello.
Yeah.
And then they start modifying stuff, and because center of gravity is a big thing, they drop the seat height, which brings the feet relatively upper. Then, if you take that a little bit further,
You end up like you're sitting in a Formula One car.
and well, you say that you want to bring the engine further back,
Yeah.
and if you bring the engine back, you need space.
Put your feet up
So
there, and I'll
then,
get a better perspective.
then
I'll
you
move
sit
this
here.
way, yeah. And you look at the road through your toes.
with your feet over here,
Yeah.
and driving over here.
Yes.
This is pretty much like a Formula One position. And the reason your feet can't go further down is because underneath here you've got a V8 engine. Toyota.
Right.
So now the problem with this is that it's pretty cool to sit here for, I don't know, 2 hours, maybe
Yeah.
2.5, 3 hours. And remember, the drivers, they train and they get used to this position and the heat and all the other stuff. So now my bum's a lot lower than my feet.
Yes.
So normally, with normal people and the way our bodies work,
Yeah.
is that our
the
feet,
stuff that this thing sings.
the red stuff,
doesn't
our
get- doesn't
feet
get
are
to them.
meant to be below our bums.
Yes.
And the way our hearts work, because it's, as Chris Barnard said, the heart is just a pump. It can like to pump the blood down, and then it comes up, and there are lovely little valves inside the blood vessel, the veins, because a vein brings blood back to the heart.
So the heart prefers the gravity to take effect to go down, and then the pump brings it back up again.
Yeah, so when you're sitting with your feet up here, the blood kind of is easier to drain out of your legs.
That's right.
And you end up with cramping and stuff. So what they do now is they lower it a bit. You've got a nice lap there, Gary. And it makes it a bit easier and more comfortable. The other thing is that, so there's a lot of development on the Toyota, on the Hilux Bucky, because it's kind of a mid-engine Bucky. So the front cylinder sits under the windscreen, the base of the windscreen. That's how far back the motor is on this thing. It's got
Then that's a V8 motor.
yeah, it's a V8, and the prop shaft is this long. And the cool thing about this V8 is that it's got variable valve timing, cam timing, to the point where you can get it to run very lean and very powerful at low revs. So it can have huge torque.
Correct.
Because you've got all sorts of look up Atkinson cycle. It's all technical stuff. If we get it just goes like Fosterer, and then Fosterist, and it sounds magnificentest. So they broke a couple of wishbones, and in order to break those wishbones, you've got to club stuff
Really
F hard, Gary. That stuff is strong. So anyway, they broke that, and they're going to come back and have a look at it. Then they had an exhaust manifold issue because with the different positioning and the heat and stuff, and exhaust went break, and flame, and because you've now got the weather.
That actually affected the whole of Janelle's rally in a
Yeah.
sense, because he was end up not finishing that stage 4.
Yeah, so they stopped stage 4, which was on Sunday, I think it was, when they on the way to the thing they had the start there, and then they turned it into a test session. So believe me,
but only for the Janelle car.
yeah.
Okay, so no.
And then Bernard ten Brink, this oak is quick, and he's focused. So
And he ended up on his side.
yeah, these things happen. Anyway, so the interesting thing was the minis were like Norman, basically, nowhere.
Nothing. Nada.
But Morocco doesn't really count. Dakar counts. So
Well,
one thing you know, Herr Quant, who runs the whole
Bing. The whole.
BMW operation. Sorry, I meant mini operation. For off-road. They
Are
run.
we going to get another message from
They are Germans. Yeah.
from some guy
Now,
in Europe?
Alec
later?
Isagonis designed the Mini in 1950 something. The Mini that we've got now is not a Mini. It's a dressed up BMW. So the Germans are there again. And you know the history of Germany? Motor racing?
No,
We're not going there.
We'll leave that for another
Gary? Because happy birthday to Mr. Porsche from 3 weeks ago. Thank you very much for building the first hybrid motor car, 1903.
Yes.
The first Porsche car
Was a hybrid.
was a hybrid. So it had an engine from Mercedes that drove a generator that drove electrics. So this whole Toyota Prius, dudes, you were miles behind. Porsche did it first, and then, anyway. So Gary, we digress.
Yes, so now
Where are we?
No, but what was nice about this whole thing was Morocco and everything like that. Toyota went and won it.
They dominated. So well done. And to NASA, tell you what, when NASA's on top, I've never met a guy as focused as he is, and absolutely awesome.
just
The
before-
other shout out, Gary, quickly,
You
before I go,
wait, who?
Toro Rosso in Japan. Okay, apart from Ferrari's meltdown and screw up and like they're useless. You remember there was that Spanish dude who said that McLaren had the best chassis in the world, and the only thing
Yeah.
that was stopping it winning was its cock engine.
Yeah.
And we said the Japanese are very good and very clever, and they'll come back. So the Toro Rosso drilled the Honda. I think Honda were last and second last and what. But still, Alonso, so the Oaks on.
Okay, just before we go on, just a quick shout out to Jackie Ann Schreiber. Hi, how are you? Scott Temple, thanks for joining us. Ashley Walker, I haven't heard from you for a long time, brother. Him and I used to play things on us, or something like that.
With a puck, with a.
No, don't
It's with a P.
Gavin Apton is watching. Gavin, nice to join us. And Greg Charman.
Greg, we did mention Kevin Harvick. He dominated like a beast. Then they couldn't put the wheels on, and then he didn't dominate. But anyway, he'll be the champion at the end of the year. Anything else there, Gary?
Yeah, I just want to know, Brett Robinson, you made a comment the container was in there. Give us some idea what you're talking about. Then we can.
Oh, what's in there? No, he says what's in there. The container, it's a Ginetta G57.
Yeah.
But that's in the future. You just spoiled the whole flow of the show.
Yeah.
Production or shout, jump out.
Don't
Gary.
Yeah.
Right, so that's happened. That was what was.
Yes.
Now we go to what is.
What is?
Greatest news of today
Yes.
is the setback of females in motorsport and the destruction of all the growth that females have had.
What are you going on about?
The announcement of W Series.
Explain to those people.
So, motorsport is one of the few things that boys and girls, or the identity that you choose, can compete on an equal footing.
Yeah.
Equal footing in that you can put, there are many girls, for instance, we reported 2 weeks ago, that young kid, a name out of my head, who won the race in NASCAR.
Yes.
Women have won everywhere. Simone de Silvestre is doing awesome stuff in Aussie Supercars. Pippa Mann is doing great stuff. Catherine Legg. Desiree Wilson was the first woman to win Formula One cars, and these are women competing against men.
Win Formula One or to drive Formula One?
She won a Formula One race.
In South Africa?
No.
Where?
It was at Brands Hatch, because it's the Race of Champions. Gary, get your...
Just asking.
This is, preparation is important in this show. And we have to have...
The best preparation.
Exactly. You've got to get the USB stick shoved up somewhere so it can download stuff. Anyway, so they announced W Formula, and this is not a Mickey Mouse formula.
Yeah, Greg Jarman says to total waste of time W Series.
Okay. So
but I think we'll explain.
I like it when you
I understand what he's saying.
I like it when people have opinions.
Yes.
And I've watched the story break and unfold during the day, and guys like Will Buxton, who I rate tremendously, before we knew that David Coulthard, Ross Brawn, and David Ryan are the drivers of this thing. It was, it sucks a bit. Now all of a sudden it's becoming a big thing, and now he's saying, oh, hold on, let's wait and see. I say kill it and kill it dead. To suddenly take, before we give opinion, Gary, let's say what the thing is.
Well,
What's going to happen is people have been worried about women in motor racing, and they're not getting far enough. There are not enough women in motor racing. So what these guys have done is decide to run a formula that only women can race in.
Yeah.
And they've taken a modified Formula 3 chassis, and they're going to call it W Series.
Yeah, it's called the W
Only women can go in it. There's no entry fee. You go through a rigorous selection criteria. Then you get selected, and you can win. There's a total pool of about $1.5 million or something like that.
That's right, yeah.
So, great theory. What's going to happen in reality is all the girls, ladies, women who are running in different series are going to say, well, if I don't go there, then I'm not relevant. So they're all going to take whatever they've got, instead of running in IndyCar and Indy Lights and GT3 and LMP and all these other formula, they're now all of a sudden going to try and go there because, hey, David Coulthard's involved there and Adrian Newey's involved there, and woo, if I'm not there, then I'm left out.
Yeah.
And where do they go if you don't win? Nowhere.
You mean after that?
Yeah. So you don't, because it's Formula 3, and I tell you what, it sucks. And it sucks.
Yeah.
And I'll say it wherever it is. My belief, I'm firmly with Pippa Mann, where she says that if you're going to spend money in promoting women in motorsport, support them. And apparently the belief is they get to round about Formula 3 level and then they can't go further.
Yeah.
Well, that's because in motorsport there's a pyramid, and the pyramid goes up. And there are only 20 oaks who... You know that there are fewer Formula 1 drivers than people who walked on the moon. That's how special it is. It's easier to walk on the moon than become a Formula 1 driver. That's fact, Gary. We only speak facts on this show, and we give opinions. So the higher you go up the ladder, the lesser chance you've got of getting there. So now they're going to take all this money and focus away from all the really good things that people that women have been doing, and it goes to this growth that I see in the world about identity politics. You've got to be. I'll look it up. It sucks. We love motorsport. Anyway, so that's Formula W,
Okay,
W Series. Don't like it.
I just want to shout out Ted Barbier. Thanks very much for this information. It's back to Dakar, but it's about bikes. So
We love bikes.
Yeah, it says 2 off-roaders, okay, on bikes for Dakar 2019 is Ross Branch and Kenny Gilbert. Both of them are super fast on enduro bikes, but as he says, it's going to be their first Dakar, and don't have much road book knowledge. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But Ted, thank you for bringing it to us to attention. And guys, as South Africans, let's get behind South Africans racing on this international platform.
I think it's freaking awesome.
It's the only way these guys get recognized and go somewhere.
I'm glad to see that Lighting got their act together.
Yeah.
Right, so that's Dakar, guys on bikes, Adrian Newey, next level,
Now we go to the future.
World Superbikes. Gary,
We've
did you mention that World Superbikes are coming to Kyalami middle of next year?
I did.
Yeah,
I
awesome,
did
well done.
Today and a couple of weeks later, and I got jumped down and I got shouted down. today the press release was original from somebody else. Tell me.
Gary, stick to your guns. It's coming. We know it's coming.
Okay. Now,
Toby didn't spend all that money for nothing. GT3s are coming. International.
well, that's a signed deal.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Well, by now, the motorbikes are a signed deal.
So the 9 hour next year in November, Kyalami, keep that open. Keep that date open, guys.
I can't wait. Anyway, this weekend is the Petit Le Mans, Baby Le Mans, at Road Atlanta in Murka. You know I love American racing, and it's streamed, which brings us nicely into the future where we're going. But we're not going to talk about that now. It's next item on the list here.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Petit Le Mans. And the interesting thing is some of the guys who run in NASCAR run in GTS, which is their version of GT4.
That's
And I
correct.
think that we're going to see a lot more GT4 emphasis in South Africa.
Yeah,
They're a little bit cheaper to buy and more particularly to run than a GT3 car.
but they look exactly like a GT.
They're not as cool because there's less carbon fiber. Because
No, but
carbon fiber makes everything cool.
You can't see carbon
It's like
fiber
bacon.
under the paint.
Yeah, but that's why Butts leave the carbon fiber.
That's why I keep the bonnet closed.
Gary, did you know that our outdoor studio is in Fourways, the most densely populated areas of fart clubs in Joburg, in South Africa? In
Fart
fact,
or
fart.
fight?
You know where the oaks go and fart, and they mirror each other.
Oh, that's a
Fart,
fart.
yeah,
Oh,
fart,
okay.
brother. Like, but I tell you, it's a Fourways, brother. And then, okay, so and America.
Marika.
So America had this great experiment where they took the experiment where they took the cars that are running in LMP2s and their sports cars, and they used to have Daytona prototypes, which were basically tube frame specials with a V8. They were hunks, a POS.
No.
We're not allowed to say what it is. Look
No.
it up, and you know, it's like our sponsor DBAC.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Don't ask, guys.
so
Google it.
the DP prototypes were like old Westbank modified cars, but just flatterer and kakara. So then they decided that they were going to go for LMP2s, but because Cadillac had a bucket load of money, they got to find a way of bringing Cadillac into the whole General Motors,
Yeah.
bring them into the series, and the Taylors, Wayne Taylor Motorsport, what they did was they said that, right, you can come and modify, because in Europe, where the Germans are, but
Yeah.
more the French in LMP2,
Yeah.
it's a chassis with a body spec and an aero spec and an engine.
Yes.
End of discussion. That's it. That's all you got. And it's a Gibson V8, which has its birth in a Nissan V8. So Terence Marsh will be very happy and he'll be proud of that. Terence, bring a GT3 car from Nissan. We know that they're really cool. We know Terence watches it. He
Yeah.
doesn't like to let us know because he's undercover. And Terence Marsh knows everything about everything. So anyway, what they do is they ended up running with Nissan and Mazda and Cadillac and Acura, you and I, Honda, who's better than a McLaren.
Yeah.
But we like McLarens because they're going to come and race GT3. But in terms of balance of performance, it was a bit of a screw up. And the LMP2 cars were getting drilled, and equivalency doesn't work. You can never make motorsport is a meritocracy. You either
Meritocracy.
a meritocracy. It's a fosterocracy. So the fosterer wins, and you can't make everybody equal, except in GT3 in Europe. So what they've now done is they've decided that going forward, it's in order to bring some more manufacturers in. Gary, focus, Brew. Focus, Gary. In order to bring more manufacturers in, they're going to allow the top class, the prototypes, a little bit more leeway. And they're going to split it into two classes. So you now have an LMP2 class, which runs European rules, and you have a prototype class, which runs American rules.
A DP class, yeah.
Yeah, IMSA prototype rules. So they're going to be fosterer.
Okay.
So because they blocked them down, you're running this Chevy thing with about, 500 horsepower, and it still gets drilled by an LMP2. So now they're going to unleash them, and they're going to go fosterer. So they expect they're going to have Mazda, or in America they call it Mazda.
Mazda. In
So
America.
Mazda run a 2-liter turbocharged 4, and they're probably going to end up running a 2.4 turbocharged 4. You got Nissan with their V6 that comes out of the Godzilla car, which might end up running in a V8, and you've got Cadillac with a 19-liter. It's the biggest thing because Cadillacs are the biggest in there. So it's got a 19-liter V8 engine in it that revs to about, I don't know, 4,000 revs and still drills everybody. Run by Wayne Taylor.
Yeah.
But he was picking up some
Now,
interesting stuff.
Coming back to why we ended up back in America.
Yeah, but we're going to the south of America now.
And the reason
Is that where you want to go there?
Yeah, we're going to Petit.
Petit Le Mans?
Petit Le Mans.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
South Africans are there. Young Sheldon van der
yeah,
Linden is
Sheldon's
go
going to
and
be
do
there
his
again.
thing.
Sheldon, yeah, tell you what, that kid is kind of quick. In fact, they're all quick. And I'm just so happy that we've got South Africans playing world stage. These guys are awesome. Be proud. Stand up and be proud. Then we go to, according to production, Gary, we go to South America,
Yes.
where Kelvin van der Linde is running in
Brazilian stock car.
Brazilian stock cars, space frame with a V8 engine in the front.
It's a Brazilian
Plastic.
version of DTM.
Is that like a Brazilian version of a haircut?
I'm not going to go there.
Anyway, so he's replacing Alan Kodiak. Now, how's this for multinationalism? He races in Brazil. His father's Lebanese and his mother is Japanese Brazilian, and he's going to race in Germany.
Spain.
You see how Germany, Spain, same thing.
So Calvin is replacing him in that car, and that race takes place on the 21st of...
And you recall when we spoke to
October.
Kelvin how he was saying the Brazilian fans are just like it's big. So the track is at the Londrina track. It's about, according to Google, it's
Autodroma. Autodroma.
yeah. Go
Dutton
Gary,
Senna.
go Gary.
Yeah.
But everything in motorsport in South America is Ayrton Senna.
Okay, that's what I meant.
So it's about so many times 4 of these things, which are 100 kilometers on Google Maps, and it's over there. It's South America.
We were looking on the map from he's using his thumb on the screen to work out the distance between where that is compared to the next place. Nice one, Colin.
Gary, we've got to do what we've got to do.
Our technology
And
works.
then going forward, we spoke about Harbour,
Yes.
Durban.
Durban.
Okay, so what's in the container?
Okay.
In the box,
In the box is a big thing.
a Janetta G57.
G57.
Are we allowed to say who's imported it?
Well, we can do it. I mean,
Okay, so you say?
it's imported by the guys that import a lot of other race cars.
Yeah, but who's going to drive it?
Craig Jarvis.
Craig Jarvis. So, this is C for serious in SA endurance racing.
Yeah.
Guys come along, they've got this Janetta G57, which kind of looks like an LMP2 car, but it's kind of like, if you can imagine an LMP 2.5.
Yeah.
It's like an LMP2, but it's simpler, and it's got a simpler engine and a more plainer aero, and not so much involved electronics. And then, of course, somebody's bringing in, well, just to swing big, low
Well, this
chariot.
brings it to what you said earlier on about GT4.
Yeah, so you back off from LMP2 because they're complex,
Yeah.
they cost an
Arm and a leg.
schloed,
Yeah.
and
Schloed?
a schloed, and they not so much in money, but you need a team of an army of engineers to run
Yeah,
them.
your running costs are very high because
So-
of the amount of people you need
Yeah.
to run it.
So the air conditioner's going flat out again. I love this open air stuff. What are we going to do when it rains, Gary?
We're gonna move,
Get wet.
We're gonna get wet. Yeah.
We're going to get wet. Okay, so in the container is a G57. It's apparently on the side of the dock. It's coming for Mr. Jarvis to go and race, and hopefully, it's kind of short notice because there's how many sleeps left, Gary? 15. You said it the
Just-
other day.
Just under 15, or on 15 sleeps left. Let's do the final round of the South African Endurance Series.
The Mopar SA Endurance Series
We will see,
in Slummies, brother.
yeah, we will see 2 Janetta G57.
We hope we're going to have the 2 Janettas. We're going to have 2 Ligier Evos. We're going to have one
3.
old.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't realize you got. But there's 3 Ligers, 2 newer ones, 1 older one. And a whole host of Lamborghinis.
What do you call a lot of? I mean, what's the collective noun for Lamborghinis?
The Lambis.
No, a run of Lamborghinis.
A lot of them. So now this is where I want to challenge.
You know, it's like
Mr.
politicians, a turd of politicians.
Now this is where I want to challenge Ricky.
Ricky, brother.
So Ricky and Johnny, boys, I hope you can do some testing because you guys told me you were going to get your Lamborghini to PE on the 26th.
East London.
Sorry, to East London on the 26th. So we hope to see you there, young men.
Oh, do they still qualify as being young?
Well, they're younger than me.
Well, anybody's younger than you, Gary. Even I am. Okay, so, Senor Giancarlo, we need that car there because it's the coolest track in the world. It's the nicest racing series in South Africa.
Yeah.
It sounds awesomest, and because you can.
That's right.
And that probably is the most important thing.
Yeah.
It is, you know, in all the series I've been involved in, and I started in long time ago in Castrol Clubmans and generated. This SA Endurance series is run on a no BS basis. There's no pretentiousness.
No.
It's just down to earth, good, solid racing.
Yeah. And a hell of a lot of good fun.
It's proper, enjoyable racing. So anybody in doubts, entries are open, saenduranceseries.com, enter and go. And then, Gary, one of the things that we also looking forward, in fact, of the many things that we are looking forward to in East London, is we have our experimental streaming test.
Correct.
So we've listened, and you, the millions of viewers and fans that we've got, have given us feedback on all the racing that you want to see streaming of racing. Because not everybody can get to a racetrack, not everybody's got the time to follow a race.
And not everybody has a television set at home.
Right. So all you need is
One of those things.
a mobile device
And a Facebook.
or a laptop
Or a laptop.
and a Facebook,
And Facebook. Yeah,
and
dial in,
you
tune
can
in.
follow us live. And we're going to have multiple cameras
Yes.
that are going to follow. They're going to be moving cameras, they're going to be stationary cameras. Gary and I have got to brush up our work because apparently we're going to talk
Yes.
a bit more. We're going to talk about action on the track. So we're going to have stationary cameras on the track. We're also going to have the ability to go out to certain parts of the track.
Oh.
And one of the things that we know that people have been asking for is to get the results on screen.
Yeah.
So in one place you can follow the awesomeness of the racing.
So you'll have live results on screen, you'll have live information on screen, all the excitement in and around the pits, all the excitement from the hottest and fastest parts of the circuit, and we're going to bring the show to you. That's on the 26th of October.
We're going to go down to the Copacabana track, which is, I call it Dolphin Corner, because if you miss it,
You're in a bit
at the end of the straight, you go through some bushes onto the beach and into the sea with the dolphins. And particularly, it's very bumpy. The cars I've got VMAX there, probably, I don't know, close to 300 on the quick cars. We want to see them riding over the bumps, and we want to see the brake discs glowing. It is, East London is one of the most challenging tracks in that it has a very, very high average speed. It's 4.5 odd kilometers long. It's got some seriously fast straights. The corners are great. There's a particular way of driving it in terms of coming out of the complex onto the back straight. It is magnificent.
Well, we're going to be doing on the Friday before the race, we'll be walking around the track and we'll be standing in different positions on the track. We'll drive to certain areas and we will tell you all about what drivers are going through, how they're handling the corners, how they're handling different types of cars through those corners. So the build up to Saturday is going to be something very, very exciting.
So we're looking forward to it. We're taking, as they say, next level, brother.
Yeah.
We're going to take it, we're going to push the boat out, see what happens. We're going to lick the post and stamp the post and send it.
Lee Phillips is just enjoying
How's it, Lee?
us from Il Mori. Lee, you'll be able to watch, I hope the Nissan's going to be there. You'll be able to watch it live on Facebook.
Do you know what's going to be really cool is one day, I have a feeling
Oh, here comes trouble.
that there's going to be motorsport in Mauritius one day. I've just got this feeling.
Lee,
I don't know why.
Are you still working on it, Lee?
It's going to be kind of cool. But Gary, we're getting all sorts of signals from
Yeah, but
The people?
there's something that we're missing altogether here. The most important thing between now and the 26th is the 20th of October.
What happens on the 20th of October, Gary?
Extreme Supercars.
G&H
Lambo-
Transport Extreme Supercars.
I knew, that's why I leave it open.
And where are they, Gary?
They're at Swartkop, so
How did I forget this?
easy. I didn't tell you. So there'll be
And
Lamborghinis,
they're not on production's notes. Production, sort it out.
Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Porsches, Aston Martins, McLarens.
I believe there's 2 McLarenses.
I believe so too. And one is a GT3 car.
The other one's not.
Other one
So
is
almost
a
a GT3.
GT3 lookalike. But
So
they're both
Justin, for those of you who know Justin, send the
Sato
word out
and
there.
Sato. Mr. Carello.
We need a proper GT3, another, because I believe the other car that's here is it has Senna heritage, and that Bruno Senna raced it a couple of years ago,
That is correct.
and they've paid the right, because you plug these cars in and they talk all over the world. And if you haven't got a software license for your car, like back in the day, you used to
Then it doesn't run.
Max used to copy Microsoft Windows,
Yeah.
and you get a Swift disk and you put it in, and
And only half of it works.
yeah, now you try and do that with a GT3 car, and it's
Thinks
it's
it's-
just
no,
sorry for
not
you,
happening.
not happening.
But that's where it's all happening.
So that's Swartkorp's the 20th, Gary.
20th, that's correct.
That's I don't know, 15 days time,
No.
14 days time.
Tomorrow it'll be 7 days to race weekend.
So is tomorrow the 13th?
No. No, not tomorrow. From Friday it'll be
Gary.
7 days to race weekend.
Mathem-
Saturday's the 13th.
Mathemagics wasn't your.
Saturday's the 13th.
Let's just check here. It's oh god, I can see nothing.
Saturday's the
Okay,
13th.
whenever. It's the 20th. It's not now, it's then. It's in the future. So, on that note,
Yes. I
Is-
think I've got to go and do what I've got to do.
you got to do what you got to do, and I got to do what I got to do. And we got to say thank you to all of you for watching.
Colin, thanks very much. It's been great.
So, Gary, we back.
As
This
I
is-
pass to get undressed.
This is Wednesday, 6 o'clock every Wednesday. Make a date of it. We've got our stuff together, and we really look forward to talking. If there are things you want us to talk about, stories you want us to follow,
Put it in the comments down the bottom there, guys.
right, send us a note. You know how to get hold of us. Send us a message, and we'll try and get our sleuths onto us. If there are particular things you want us to, like an undercover story of, Gary, I don't know, the aerodynamic balance, or of an off-road truck, and how all those things. Anyway, I ramble. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been freaking awesome. We actually love this. I hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you next week, 7 days time, 6 o'clock, Wednesday. Have an awesome week. Cheers.